Well,
What what what
well, oh. Well, oh.
Okay. I don't see us streaming yet.
I'm waiting for it to pop up on my phone.
Okay.
Come on, buddy. I believe in you.
I have heard us. We are here. Hooray.
We are located.
In the basement.
Oh, crunchy.
With the spoodres.
Spood rays?
Funny way of saying spider.
Oh, the spider.
Spider.
Spooder.
Computer, show me a spooder.
Computer. Computer.
Alrighty.
Show
We
me a spooder.
have, oh, interesting. I kind of feel like just hopping into it on account of, I'm tired. I did like half a day of work today, and so of course I'm like, it's as if I've done a full day, even though I was not there that long.
Woof. It'd be like that.
It'd be like that. Um, so yeah, we'll just trade off narration with this first part. I think they talk pretty equally. I'll start out because why not? A note for this chapter in specifically. We're on chapter 11 of 22 Seconds Later, and Unda put brief warning this chapter for a discussion of suicidal themes in a non-POV character. So, if that's bad for you, please take care of yourself, and we'll catch you on the other side of this conversation.
Catch you on the flip side.
Flip.
I think this is so cool. You know, seeing how everything changes.
Dave says when he's back to Dave says when he's back to his normal color all over, as if nothing ever happened. He's gesturing at a display of the fossil record, and you can see why a god of time would get a kick out of people appreciating the changes that time brings. It probably plays into his whole thing, doesn't it?
It goes right up to modern birds, see? All the way back from that guy over there.
Dave explains, and
Are
jerks
you
it.
sure we didn't do this one?
Um, I'm pretty sure I can look at the channel and see the parts.
I'm sorry. I'm just like, I feel like we just read this one.
We just finished the part where they're flirting about dinosaurs. We've yet to have the existential talk about dinosaurs. Where
Okay. Me. Okay. I'm sorry. I've just like, I swear we just read this, but like, okay. Sorry. You want me to do that again?
Yeah, and it's okay. This is the danger we get, like, when we split chapters to make them more readable. Sometimes it's just like Spider-Man pointing me.
You. It goes right up to modern birds. See? All the way back from that guy over there.
Dave explains, and jerks his thumb at the model that you plagiarized for your little shape-shifting stunt earlier. You look the display over and satiate your curiosity by reading over every little bit of information, even as you mentally jot down a list of things that you want to look up later.
The cool thing
Dave continues enthusiastically.
is that there are still dinosaurs around. They never truly went extinct.
Because they're here and still observed, or something? Or do you mean that time is relative? Or. You ask, uncertain as to what he means.
No, dude, I mean birds. Birds are dinosaurs. The pigeons that sit on the statue outside the library are dinosaurs.
He tells you. They're not, you say flatly.
No, look, here. So, taxonomically, the way it works is that as they're a part of the same line, they are still dinosaurs, just very specialized ones.
He says gleefully, and traces out the long arrowed line that shows the timeline of flying dinosaur evolution. They're not dinosaurs, they're birds, you insist.
They're not the same, sure. All birds are dinosaurs, not all dinosaurs are birds. That kind of logic.
Dave concedes, but it's not enough. They're not dinosaurs, you say sharply. Dave looks at you, but you keep talking anyway. The words are just kind of happening now. I see what you're saying, that those ones there are dinosaurs and they became birds over time. I understand that. They're obviously connected. They're part of the same line of whatever. Evolutionary ancestry or something. I don't know. It's entirely sensible to say that they're in the dinosaur family or something, but they're not dinosaurs. Birds aren't dinosaurs. You rant. You look at the long line of imposing and clever looking dinosaurs, and then the printed image of a sparrow at the end of the line. You feel tense just looking at it. Maybe they were dinosaurs once, but they're not now. Look at them. They can't do dinosaur things at all. You can call it a dinosaur, but that doesn't make it one. You hiss. Dave's hand touches your arm gently, and it makes you jump a little.
Maybe I'm misreading this, and if you want to tell me to drop it, then I'll totally hold my hands up and say I read too far into it if that's what you want. But it sounds like we're not talking about dinosaurs anymore.
No, we're talking about birds, which aren't dinosaurs. You snap.
It's not about you then?
Dave asks, and you stare at him in confusion. You were very clearly talking about birds. Dave's finger trails through the air along the path of the dinosaur to birds diagram.
Angry pre-event car cat, post-event car cat, post-reset car cat. That's not where that was going, because otherwise you're surprisingly invested in the definition of what a bird is.
You stare at the diagram and feel small and confused. Dave's words make sense, but you didn't realize that's what you were talking about. Why is it so hard for you to know yourself? Why are you stuck being the paleontologist of your own life, standing around unearthing fossils of long dead versions of yourself, carrying around an example in your own internal display case? I told Rose to think of me as dead, or him, past me. Maybe I'm extinct, you mumble. Dave runs his teeth over his. Dave runs his teeth. Terrifying.
What's his teeth? Oh God, they grew little legs.
They grew little legs. Oh, sorry everyone for that mental image.
Oh God, I want to draw that now.
Oh no. It might make a dentist very happy.
Oh God. Oh.
Okay. Dave runs his tongue over his teeth for a second and breathes in deeply, like he's pacing himself before commenting on that. Sorry, you say, before he gets to say anything.
It's nothing that you have to be sorry for, man. Do you want to talk about it?
Dave offers. You shrug, not really knowing what to say about this, and kind of wishing that you'd kept the shape-shifting thing earlier. Oh, we might need to switch sooner rather than later. But I want to try one more time.
Okay.
Okay, the 3 strikes and I'm out. You shrug, not really knowing what to say about this, and kind of wishing that you'd kept on the shape-shifting thing earlier and gone back to Dave's dorm with him. That'd be better than this, right?
I can see it both ways.
Dave starts. What are you doing? Stealing Solix's thing? You joke weakly.
I'm his Moiro. I get to borrow it sometimes.
Dave shoots back with a hint of a smile. You know that Solix would let him do that too, and you were only joking, really. Solix can't actually have a monopoly on duality, much less a whole number.
I get why you'd want to say that all of those guys before you are dead and gone. That you're the only one here now and we should treat you as you. And I get that. You're not totally the same. It'd be shitty to constantly compare you. But then again, you're also not a complete stranger to us. So maybe it's like you said, that you're not those guys, but you're obviously connected to them.
Dave says, and you nod a little as he talks.
On the other side of that, part of the reason that you're different now is because parts of you are magically messed with. You got part of yourself back and you changed again. That old you didn't die, you changed.
He reasons. Wait, I have a book about this, you tell him, and pull the quiz book out that you showed Rose before. It doesn't take much to get to the same section, you've been over it so many times, and you hand it to Dave, who skims it and flicks ahead to the answer flowchart part, and then back again a few times. I don't pass this test for surviving. I'm dead, you tell him.
I don't think I do either. It doesn't work like this. You get that, right? Like, this book is cool and it's trying to show you how the idea works and picks it apart, but it's not like this. If you're talking about continuously, if you're talking about continuous memory of your life, then I don't have that. I'm pretty sure I lost some memories in the event. It's just hard to know until you find a blank spot. And even if that wasn't the case, then people forget things all of the time. Also, every 7 years, all the cells in the human body change out. Every atom of me is new. Or if you want to go old school, then how old am I? When was I me? I was a baby once. Am I that guy? I didn't have object permanence at that age, let alone a sense of self. When did Dave happen? As for my soul, I assume it's there. I've never checked. I'm not the same person I was when I was 13, but I'm still Dave. You change bit by bit over time. I can talk about Teamy like he's another guy, but he's still me.
Dave tells you. But if you change everything like I did, you try to say.
Okay, I'll bite. How much do I have to change before I'm a totally new person? How fast does it have to be? Are you exactly the same as you were when you woke up in that circle with Matuna? Didn't getting adopted change you? Any line you draw is arbitrary. There's only one thing that matters here, man.
Dave argues. You are different thanks to having a family. Experiencing love from your family has absolutely changed you for the better. What matters? You ask him, not sure what he's going to say.
What matters is what you think about it. If you wanted to say that all those past guys are dinosaurs and they're all extinct, that you're in the same family but you're a bird and not a dinosaur, then that matters. If you wanted to say you're a whole new guy, give yourself a new name, divorce yourself from them, then that matters. You decide that shit. No one else.
Dave says firmly. You look at the exhibition again silently, looking at the dinosaur that's just next to the bird. I'm not sure that's true, you whisper.
Why?
Dave asks. What happens when I get that last ring working? What if it's dinosaurs again and the birds get eaten? What if it clicks into place and it's like the day that June and Solix got him, back from Cankry? What happens to me? You breathe, voicing a thought that you'd not fully put together until now, a thought you can't unthink. Dave stares at you, his glasses slipping down his nose a little so you can see just how wide-eyed that stare is. He says finally. You guess he has no answer either. I don't want to die or go extinct, you tell him.
Glad to hear it.
Dave says, sounding a little uncertain about what to say to that.
I mean, obviously, I'm glad to hear it. I want you to want to be alive. Fuck, this is a weird conversation to have.
That's the thing, though. I think I'm different for feeling like that, you say. Dave seems confused by that and finally ventures a guess.
Because they're not alive to want that?
No, I mean, did past me, the one that you met at Salem, did he seem happy with his life, with being alive? You ask.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah, he did. I mean, sure, he got frustrated or down sometimes, like everyone does, but he loved all of us. Loved his job, loved school. I'm pretty sure he hated the time he spent in Georgia, but he was happy here.
Dave says hastily. You open your mouth and consider that this conversation might be a little heavy to have in public and also a little angelically confidential. You silence the two of you in a little bubble and go on. See, he didn't remember being an angel, but he still did angel things. Cankry didn't remember being an angel, but he was the same asshole that he was but he was the same asshole he was before. I think you keep the habits of who you are sometimes, even if you don't remember. Maybe that's in your soul. I don't know. You say with a shrug.
I, okay, sure.
Dave agrees warily. Heaven obviously fucking sucked for every version of me that had anything to do with it. Pre-event me was going around getting involved in all sorts of shit he wasn't supposed to, including Solix. You tell him, leaving out that you were also getting involved with him, but the point is still there.
That sounds like you. Rebel with way too many causes kind of deal.
Dave says, and the love in his tone hurts your heart a little bit, in the sweetest way. I did all that knowing what would happen if I got caught, though. I'd be killed or tortured or killed and then tortured. Wait, no, the other way around. Fuck. Don't get me wrong. Solix is pretty. Do we need a second? You're good.
God.
Crockett's just having a good time in this convo.
Yes. Solix is pretty, but he ain't that pretty.
Listen, man, I got standards.
Oh my God. Okay, I need to take a drink real quick.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Oh no, goat dad.
Goat
Back.
dad.
Yeah, Dio made me a sea goat dad.
Nice. Now he can neglect you from within your range of punching.
He is very fun, though. I love him.
Yeah.
There are 3 Homestuck plushes on my bed right now. There's a car cat, cow, and sea goat dad.
Nice. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, Solix is pretty, but he's not pretty enough to being... Ah, damn it. Don't get me wrong, Solix is pretty, but he's not pretty enough to risk being tortured to death for. His ass, or lack thereof, isn't that good, so either past me was an idiot, or he just didn't care. Like, he'd do the things that... Whoa, sorry, I thought I heard something. Like, he'd do the things that made it worth it, and if he got unmade for it, then so be it. Don't get me wrong, I'd die to save your life, but I'd really prefer for anyone threatening your life to die instead of me and you. But sure, the Karkat you knew didn't live in heaven and didn't go through that, but I know he told Solix to kill him instead of risk your lives. You explain in a rush.
Life or death. There weren't a lot of choices there. I can buy this for a pre-event you, but not the car cat I knew.
Dave insists. He never did anything like that? You ask. Dave shakes his head, and then that shake slows down and finally falters. Oh, you think you're right after all.
The lab. One time in alchemy class, there was an accident. You didn't know what you were, and you didn't know you didn't need to breathe then. All of the air got sucked out of the room. You and Celix figured out what happened, but you kept running back in the room to save people. You hadn't realized that you didn't need to breathe. It was heroic, but...
Dave looks a little bit horrified at the idea. Maybe it was. Maybe I'm reaching. I don't know. Maybe he still had the habit of acting like dying for a good cause was the best choice. That's not what I want. I want this. Instead, I get to go back home to two people arguing about two dead versions of me that they want back. You say bitterly.
That's not what Rose wants, really. She's like me, like all of us. We love every version of you. We don't want you gone.
Dave says, trying to reassure you. It's nice to hear, until you consider that he'd be just as happy with the other guy, and where would that leave you? How many species existed in these long-gone time periods without leaving so much as a fossil? They lived and died without anyone even unearthing their bones to wonder what they were like. Is that going to be you? A few months of being a slightly different version of yourself, only to go back to being past Karkat? He'll live on for centuries after, and then maybe occasionally think how funny it was that he went through this weird little patch, and then go back to mushing up food in his gross little mouth, and that's it. I'm scared to not exist. Wouldn't you be? To just erase everything? You ask. It strikes you that you may be asking the wrong person. Well, Dave did that by choice, to himself, to so many people too. You should probably hate him for that, but you can also see that he didn't have a lot of choice in the situation. Besides, it's not as if the idea that a god can sometimes be cruel is news to you. Still, you don't think that Dave actually had any malice there. Even though your first response when you found out was outrage, you've come around to seeing it Solix's way. That it sucks, that it hurt, but it wasn't intentionally awful. He gave up his memories and a lot of who he was to try to save the world.
That's terrifying. I'd be scared if I knew that was going to happen. It's one thing when demons or angels make someone and both of them change. The person doing the making at least agrees to it. I'd like to think that if you got everything working again, then you'd just be more stable. Maybe remember the things that he did so you're not confused about stuff all the time. That's gotta be frustrating for you.
Dave agrees. So you want him to stay dead, you say, not willing to let him wiggle out of this.
No. Yes. I mean, I don't know. I don't want any version of you dead. Well, except Cancri. Fuck that guy.
Dave scowls. Fuck that guy, you agree cheerfully. Cancri disapproves. You know he does. You also don't care. Of course, if we become an entirely new person, then I'm still dead and so is he. The pile of dead Karkats grows, you say with grim cheer.
Okay, but are you an entirely new person? Like, I'm not trying to semantically shift the touchdown zone here, but if you've got his memories back and kept your own and just grew, are you really a different person any more than I am from teen me? Sometimes I still feel the impulses that teen me had to experiment with hair dye or listen to shitty emo in secret. That doesn't make us different people. It just makes me an adult who knows better about hair dye and has a broader music taste. But still, sometimes listens to emo without having to call it shitty because cringe is the only thing dead here.
Dave argues. I don't know. Maybe I should go consult Death herself about it. See who's dead and who isn't, you say in exasperation.
Please don't. She hit Sullix with a truck. I don't trust her around people I love.
Dave implores you. You think you'd heard about this before, but you take a moment to consider it and come to a conclusion about it. Maybe I should go murder Death herself about it, you amend.
Let's not. Let's stay away from anyone becoming dead, being dead, or seeing interacting with death in any way whatsoever. How about that?
Dave says, a little hysterically. Wow, Really? Don't set the forest on fire, Carcat. Don't throw a corpse out of the library, Carcat. Don't murder immutable embodiments of forces of the universe, Carcat. I can't do anything around here, you say sarcastically.
I don't think anyone got a chance to tell you not to throw a corpse out of the library. You yeeted that guy before anyone could even think to tell you not to. I don't even know where he landed. He just blasted off into the sunset like goddamn Team Rocket.
Dave says with a level of despair that is mostly joking. I understood about half of the things that you said, you point out.
Whoa, we're halfway there.
Dave says, almost musically, so you're starting to suspect this is a song lyric. Perhaps even one of his lovely poems, even. That was so good. I'm so happy he had the power to remove ink and ask Dave what Doki Doki means.
Please listen. I feel like even in this moment, like, Carcat thinking, maybe it's one of his lovely poems. I feel like June is like halfway across campus giggling to herself. Like, there goes Carcat again.
Love that guy.
That's my boy.
What I'm getting from this is that I am allowed to throw corpses out of the library, you say with a nod.
No, you know what? Not my library, not my corpses. I'm staying out of that. But for real, man, I don't know the answer to any of these questions. I get that you're scared, and I would be too, but we all love you, and we're going to try to figure this out together, okay? Ideally, no one dies. Incredibly ideally, no one dies, and even if someone does, they are not thrown out of the library.
Dave jokes a little at the end there, trying to lighten the topic of your possible death. If I die, I demand that you throw whatever is left of me around, in, and out of every library that you can find, you say with a straight face.
I'm sorry, I'm just imagining that being in someone's will. Could they even could they do that? Would they be legally allowed to
Maybe you like split up your body amongst
do
different like loved ones so that like is like I'm the leg guy, here I am, bumping the leg across the bookshelves.
Yes. I guess in theory, if you were cremated, you could just have someone uh put you into like BB pellets or something and shoot you out of the library.
I was
I don't know,
picturing
put you
someone
in a
like
blow dart.
holding an urn and like aggressively shaking it throughout the library until someone realizes that it's ashes and you have to run.
Run!
Run!
They'll never catch me alive.
No!
Oh, okay. I got this. I got this. I've seen what you people look like when you die. I'd have to make a paper airplane out of you.
Dave points out. I can live with that. Or I guess I can't. You shrug. You drop the silencing spell that covers the pair of you, partly because you're starting to attract attention with your entirely silent but clearly very intense conversation, and also partly because you don't want to talk about this any longer. It just sort of hurts to think about.
Do you want to just, call it a day on dinosaurs? We could come back another day and look at rocks and old art. I think there's even an armor and weapons section here, too.
Dave offers sweetly, reaching out and ever so slightly linking his little finger with yours. He's not holding your hand, but he almost is, as if he's not sure that you'd want that right now. So desperately sweet for a boy who used time to wrong everyone in the world. He's trying to give you your own time to think about this. But, fuck, who are you to judge him? He who is free of sin and all that. You've got your own crimes against God, and the soul going on inside your being right now. He's trying to be nice
Be
about.
gay, do crime.
As well?
Sorry, I said be gay, do crime.
PK do crime. He's trying to be nice about something that you hadn't realized was bothering you, something that you're not going to be able to unthink now. Also, it doesn't seem like there's a good or easy answer to this, and at least he's admitting that. He's not treating you like you're too broken or naive to think about this. Yeah, you say quietly, and let Dave lead you outside. You watch him as the two of you walk, and you think about what Solix told you. You think about what Dave did with June. They tried to save the world, but in an incredibly fucked up way. Look what they did to Solix, or to you. But equally, you wouldn't exist as you are now if he hadn't, so. Again, no easy answers, huh? Dave is talking, but he's mostly just. What?
You okay?
I thought I heard someone say pause in a weird voice.
What? No.
Okay. I've been having like some weird feedback from the mic. I think maybe I can hear myself through you, but usually I can ignore it. Sorry, I stopped there.
Oh, do you need me to switch in for narrator, or are you okay?
I think I can get to narrator. Like we feel very close to the end of this. So, like I'm looking at the bar, and maybe that's not correct. Um, let's go ahead and switch. Why not? Let's start from
Okay.
Dave is talking.
Dave is talking, but he's mostly just rambling about stuff you've already seen in the park on your way here. It's not new information or anything. He's simply filling the silence. Would you have done something different if you were in his position? Technically, you guess that you couldn't because if you were in exactly his situation and were exactly him, then you'd obviously have done what he did because that is what he did.
Do you think
Your mouth goes before your mind catches up.
that once you're fucked up, then that's it? Everything you do is going to be fucked up?
Dave pauses his tangent about the most yonic flowers in this park, a word you're going to have to look up, and thinks about what you said. Kinda? Not fucked up exactly, but different. Growing up with mom the way she was probably traumatic if you ask psych people, having to take care of someone who was meant to take care of you. Or how Celix came from hell and that's not great for him, from what I've heard. But it's part of who you are. It doesn't have to mess you up forever. Are you thinking about you and Cancry? Dave wonders.
Kind of.
You answer. You'd mostly been thinking about what his childhood did to him. Whether a god of time raised like that could have ever made a good choice there. If his role as the Antichrist doomed him from the get go. Well, Dave says solemnly. Like all good things, it's hard.
I'm trying to ask you a philosophical and psychological question. Can we not bring your dick up?
You sigh, though you know he's just joking. My dick is always what's up, Dave says with mock seriousness.
From what I saw on TV adverts, I think you should speak to a doctor about that.
You shoot back immediately and delight at the startled laugh that your remark earns you. Okay, okay, Dave laughs. So it's like a Celix thing. On the one side, the stuff you go through and where you come from is always going to be part of you. On the other, it doesn't have to change things. If you're really determined not to let something have anything to do with your thoughts or actions, then I think you can do that. Or you can too on some level. It's not like someone's just instantly a lost cause when something happens to them.
Alright then. How does someone do that?
You ask him suspiciously. I don't know. I'm sure there's psych people that could give you actual answers, but I've got a few guesses. Just ask yourself why you do or think something. Why is that what you left to? Is that true? Where did you learn that? Do you want to keep that or trash that? I'm sure Cancry sucked in an absolutely chronic way, But there's probably some parts of him that didn't suck, or some things he taught you that were helpful. Even if it's something minor, like how to organize your stuff or something else, I don't know. He's a bad example because I don't know much. Okay, better one. Mom wasn't always a good teacher when it came to magic because she'd just throw herself into a topic and it would click. I'm like that too with a lot of it. Rose found that really infuriating because she likes to know all of the details. But me and mom just get it, even if we're not totally sure how and why. Only, haha, we're now studying at Salem, and Rose has study skills, and I fucking don't. So Rose decided not to do things like mom did, and she's fine now. I didn't, and now I'm stuck. Dave rambles. You're not entirely sure that he got to the point that he'd intended on, but you can see the shape of what he's trying to say. Dave rejected the role that he had as the Antichrist, and you guess this is him learning how to be himself again. This whole stretch of time since the event is him doing that. It's a very extreme example, but it tracks. Except he then went and grew up with his mother instead, and he's now got to work out who he is outside of her influence. Fuck, is that how all of life is gonna be?
That sounds exhausting, actually. Wow.
You tell him. Sure. Or you can not do that and be like those assholes you see online who are like, you people whine too much. My family did shitty things to me and it was good for me. You can tell by how I'm doing it to my kids. This is healthy and smart. There's that option, Dave says with disdain in his tone. Not directly at you, but presumably at those people. You think about Cancri, about the Cancri before you existed, about your god, and you feel really judgmental about that. I can read about your god, and you feel really judgmental about that all of a sudden. You think you're going to sit down later and talk to Cancri about that. Topics of conversation to include.
Hey, what the fuck? Why the fuck? Seriously?
Sure, it's going to be great and go down well.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Besides, I love questioning things.
You reassured Dave. You do. Curious cat, huh? Dave smiles and bumps his shoulder against yours.
Yeah.
You agree quietly as the two of you pass the non-functional fountain bath, memorializing people who died because there weren't enough people around asking honest questions. If someone asked enough why people I can read, I promise. If
Doing
someone
great.
had asked enough why people what was that?
You're doing great.
Dinky. If someone had asked enough why people were running those witch hunts, or what they really had to gain from it, or how people could live with themselves, then maybe things could have gotten better. You appreciate the part of yourself that asks questions, especially if it stops you from becoming a monster.
I feel a little. I feel a little bit like I ruined our date.
You admit, slipping your hand into Dave's. What? Nah, Dave says, and laces his fingers with yours immediately. You give him a look that you hope conveys how doubtful you feel about that. A big part of dating is getting to know someone, right? We went on a date, we did that. Mission success. All sorts of things were learned, including but not limited to the knowledge that you're open to vanilla coffee syrup, Dave says. That's really glossing over the other thing, but that is technically true. The two of you walk into your building as Dave is, for some reason, telling you what he would plant in the park if it was left up to him. You've no idea why he has thoughts on this, but you're still mentally drawing out the map in your head as he talks. You don't know the name of the flower that he's talking about, so you get your phone out to see it. Orchis italica. No, with a C, like italics as a font thing. And then there you go. Dave corrects you, reading over your shoulder as you type it. Those seem like perfectly normal little plants. They're in bunches with little petals that
See, I know you said about taking things slow, but you give confusing messages. Why do I get the feeling that when you decide that you're interested in sleeping with me, that you're going to hand me a bunch of these flowers?
you ask despairingly. Because that's definitely how that's going to go now. Yeah. Yep. Dave nods.
You are.
You're about to tell him that he's impossible, but you're cut off because opening your dorm room door means that the silencing spell breaks and you can hear what's going inside. Break
Break
time. Do, do,
time!
do, do, do.
Oh boy, what's going on inside?
Break time.
Horrors. Only horrors.
For a second, I thought you said only whores.
Oh no! Like some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house.
Grab a bucket and a mop for the sweat ass Sulek.
He needs so much help.
He needs some milk.
I question that,
Oh,
but I don't question it that deeply. Okay, it's 41, so we are going to meet up at 56. Alrighty?
okie dokie.
Wonderful.
We shall be back.
We'll be back.
Goodbye.
And I'll get the music started up in a second here. Turns out the browser I listened to music on needed to update, of course. I have impeccable timing. Why else would anything happen? Here we are. See you soon.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Wonderful. Sorry for me being a little bit late that time.
That's okay.
I was like, I can
It
totally make a
happened.
whole sandwich in 15 minutes. It's gonna be no problem. Just torque it down.
Oh no. Sometimes you just gotta speed eat.
Yeah. I think I could have done it if I hadn't had to fix the music halfway. It like cut out all of a sudden, and I was like, no.
Oh no. Oh no.
But we continue. We live and we learn.
We live.
Live. Feeling
Okay.
alive today. Alive.
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 Hmm.
Okay, I'm thinking we'll have you continue with narration until it wipes you out as well, and I will come back.
Okie dokie. Is there no Sullix in this one?
Let's see. Doesn't look like it.
No, my boy.
Oh boy. Every
That's
chapter
my
without
boy.
a Solix is a crime.
Yeah. Come on, Unda, where is my son? Oh god, I hear a stink bug. Where is he?
Oh. I don't think I've ever heard a stink bug in advance. I think I've only ever been attacked by them.
Yeah, they make like, I wouldn't say a droning sound, but like a low buzz. All right, let me take a bevy real quick. Drinky drink.
Drinky drink.
Time to scream and air it in.
Screams in angelic.
It's just the sound of like fire and turning wheels. Just mortal, and one day you'll die. And Aridin trails off, clearly midway through a screaming argument with Rose. Rose and Aridin are both staring at you, and after a second of looking, you see Sullix on top of your kitchen shelving, looking like he wants to set everyone on fire, himself included. You shut the door again sharply and look at Dave.
I don't want to go in there.
You tell him. Yeah, I wouldn't either. He agrees.
I have to, though, don't I?
You ask, already knowing the answer. Probably. Yeah, it's kind of mean to leave Sullix in there with no backup, but we could both go in. Dave offers. I forgot I was narrator for a second. I'm big dummy.
It happens.
Or you could just never go back in there again. Ever. Ugh, no, you have to do this. You open the door again to Rose's voice.
At what you did! I hate this.
You groan. Both Rose and Aridin launch into simultaneous and impossible to parse argument about how the other is the worst ever. Sullix teleports next to you and grabs your shoulders. They have been like this the whole time, he tells you in horror. So I guess there is a Sullix, it just wasn't marked.
Wasn't marked, my bad.
Secret Sullix,
Secret
secret Sullix.
Sullix. Boy provided. Unda did not hide the boy, he's here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why you were that. Yeah, that's why you wanted to be anywhere but here. Dave looks flatly at the bickering that's continuing, and if anything, it's ramping up again. He shakes his head and then pulls his bag around to shove his hand inside of it. He can't hurt me, right? Dave checks.
No, but what?
Sellex asks, but Dave is already walking over to the pair. And you're going to say that when it's obvious that the presence of you people. Aridin yelps and sputters as Dave presses the button on whatever he has in his hand and sprays Aridin in the face with it. He's not on fire, so you're going to guess that whatever he sprayed him with isn't unholy water.
That's what you get for.
Rose starts gloating, and Dave immediately swings his arm around and sprays Rose directly in the face, too. Quit fighting, Dave insists. Rose hisses and punches Dave in the arm. You look at Sullix and lower your voice.
There's nothing to stop Rose from hurting him, though, is there?
Not when he maceth her with lens cleaner for his sunglasses, no. Oh, and wow, and Aridin again.
Sullix observes quietly as Aridin's attempts at gloating got cut off by yet another spritz of cleaner to the face. Our cat was too well behaved for this, but you two clearly deserve it. What the fuck, even? Carcat didn't want to come back because he could tell this was going to happen. I could tell this was going to happen. Dave snaps at them.
I'm sorry I left you with this.
You whispered to Sullix.
Someone needs to watch him, and Matuna needs a break too. They both just need to get over it, and it'll be fine.
Sullix says that part loudly and pointedly, like he's already made this argument several times. Rose and Aridin both start to argue about how dare Sullix imply something. You can't tell what because Tave gets. Did I say Tave?
Tave?
Tave. Oh, well, welcome to the group along Sarkat, Jade.
Gage.
I know I called Sullix something weird. Yeah. What did I call Sullix the one time? It was something.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. Rose and Aridin both start to argue about how dare Sullix imply something. You can't tell what because Dave gets back on his mission to spray them both into good behavior. This time he dodges Rose before she can manage to hit him. You're making Carcat sad. Look at him. Look at that face. Dave dares them, pointing at you. You don't know that you do look sad. Mostly you just feel resigned to the fact that things are going to suck now, that there's nothing you can do to make them get on, and you don't understand why it has to be like this. You feel guilty that Sullix and Dave are now involved in this problem too. Evidently, whatever expression is on your face right now is enough to make Rose and Aridin both look upset and guilty. Although when they look at each other, it's plain that they're both mostly blaming the other for that. It has stopped the arguing. Several long seconds go by without it starting up again, so that's something at least.
Could you say again, so that's something at least got totally eaten and quiet?
Oh, I'm sorry. So that's something at least.
Could you two not fight? Please?
You ask hopefully. But the way she's acting is entirely. Aridin falters as Dave raises his spray bottle again.
I know.
You cut him off, and Rose's eyes widen.
I know what you're going to say, so can we just not? I'm really tired.
You say weakly.
Hey, are you okay? Do you need me to take a look at you?
Sullix asks worriedly, and unlike so much of what Dave has said today, there's no double meaning going on there. He's actually just concerned. Maybe you should have a nap or something. We can keep an eye on these two, or we can call Matuna to do it, Dave suggests. You don't need to sleep, but ironically, you're too tired to tell him that. You retreat to your room and fall into your bed. It's barely been used since you got here, but right now it's soft and the room is dark. Closing your eyes and shoving your face wholly into the pillow helps a little bit, but it doesn't stop your mind from turning over everything. You open your eyes again, your face pressed against one of your rings.
What if we just vanish when we get better and the other Karkat comes back? What if me is me that'll be destroyed? Is destroyed the right word? Dead? Or is it like dinosaurs? A million tiny changes, but it's still dinosaurs? Except that doesn't make sense, right? Everyone can see those things aren't the same, surely. The placement of the line between them might be arbitrary, but does that mean the line at all is arbitrary?
Well, I hope you're pleased with yourself, Cankry says tiredly. He's splayed out on the floor in his enclosed space.
I just want answers.
You tell him weakly. You have more of those. Sorry. I don't know if it's just supposed to be you have more of those or you would have more of those sentences.
I think you have more of those still makes like grammatical sense. Because like you would have more is direction, and you have more is more like Kankry being judgmental. Like I got rid of mine and it worked for me.
Valid. All right. You have more of those if you don't endlessly do this, Cankry says, and waves an exhausted hand at your questioning ring.
Were you happy with me gone once you ripped me out and made me?
You ask him, leaning around a ring to see better. Yes, except you were then external and running around causing me problems, Cankry answers immediately.
Why was your solution to being miserable to make me miserable? You passed it along, just like Dave said.
You say to him, leaving aside how we're not taking advice from the Antichrist here, Cankry begins, even though there's no we in this, I didn't do anything to you.
I've seen enough of your memories to know that's not true.
You point out, nothing that bad, Cankry tuts, moving from, I never did anything to you, to, it wasn't that bad, with ease.
Like combat training? You hated yours. You hated yours, put you. You hate. Put. You hated yours, put me through it too.
Maybe
But.
it's supposed to be but.
Yeah, let's get that puppy flipped around. Sick. Okay. Like combat training, you hated yours, but you put me through it too, even though you knew exactly how bad it was.
You reason. You felt his secondhand horror whenever that subject comes too close. I was doing the best that I could for you. It's not my fault that things are the way they are. You needed that training, and you've gladly used it since then. So I don't see how this is on me, Cankry retorts, sitting up to glare at you.
You could have done so many other things. Taught me and deliberately avoided the terrible parts of what you went through. Not taught me at all. Got someone trustworthy to teach me safely. Anything else but that. And that is just one thing.
You point out. Cankry could have decided not to be part of the system that sucked, but he stayed in it. Look where that got the two of you. I didn't do any of that just to hurt you. What do you think of me? Cankry says in offense.
I think you could have been better, and chose not to be.
You say after a moment. That is not what happened. I was in agony, and I did everything I could to follow the plan. Clearly, removing you was part of that plan. You, of all people, should understand what this is like, Cankry says, and waves a hand at your questioning ring.
It looks hurt at his words.
Why would you say that? I'm just being what I am, aren't I? Isn't me being me part of the plan?
Its questions are quiet now, but not because you've satisfied its curiosity, but more because it seems to be dealing with questions it's likely asked 100,000 times before. It's not exactly as if you ever made yourself easy to deal with. I tried to do what I could for you, but you went out of your way to make things impossible. I'd hoped that I'd teach you something, but no. Cancri hisses at you. Maybe it's easier to see it. You don't have all of the memories that he has, or all of the habits that your past self kept after all that time with Cancri, but you can see it.
Nice progression from I didn't do anything to you deserved it. Did you deserve it too? Did your god tell you that? Or your Moirail?
You ask him simply, "Don't you dare talk about them!" Cancri barks at you, scrambling to his feet.
I get it. If you treated me better than you. I get it. If you treated me better, then you had to admit that you had it bad too. Better to rip out the whole part of you that questions things than ask if this is okay.
You shoot back. The only thing wrong with me was you. There was nothing else. I was fine after I removed you. I was fine. You were just a cancer that I had to survive to be me. Just. Cancri insists tightly.
Test got eaten.
Oh, a test. Cancri insists tightly.
That's a fucked up thing to do to someone.
You say finally. You're fine. Cancri barks.
Not me. I meant that's a fucked up thing for someone to do to you. To us? I feel like.
You falter, and there's a distant grinding sound. One of your rings trying to move again. The sound of it breaks your concentration, and Cancri simply puts his hands over his ears and whines. What is that? Whatever it is stops, and you're left facing Cancri with nothing to say. He's not willing to listen at all, and you're just wasting your breath here. Chapter 12. I can't believe you two, Dave says coldly, seconds after Karkat's door shuts. You don't even know me, Aridin points out. That's how low the bar was, Celix retorts for Dave. I don't need to know him. You're both supposed to be people who care about Karkat, and he didn't want to come back here because he was afraid that you two would be like this. I didn't think you'd be this bad, but here we are. You're both making him miserable. I hope you're happy because he is short. He's cheap. Fuck. I hope you're happy because he sure as shit ain't. Dave snaps at both of you.
I didn't mean.
You try, but Dave shakes his head and you drop it. What you intended wasn't the issue. Only your actions matter. More arguing isn't going to solve this. Sorry to break it to you all. All you've given me is a headache, so please don't. Celix adds. Karkat needs us. He's really going through it, and this isn't helping, Dave says quietly, the way he tends to talk when he's actually upset about something. He leaves. He doesn't even say goodbye. No parting comment at all. You'd feel better if he'd insulted you both on his way out. You're not liking the shift in your sibling relationship where he has all of the answers instead of you. As it is, you just feel ashamed at your actions and angry at Aridin. So, Cockhead said that he knew earlier. Even he knows that you're pale for him. Aridin says smugly, clearly not having the emotional revelation that you're having. There's nothing you can say to this that is a winning remark. Something you should have figured out hours ago. The only winning move is not to play. You go to your room, not bothering to announce it because Sullix can clearly see where you're going. You shut the door after you and lean against it. You lock it for good measure and try to calm down. You're so pent up and angry that you feel like you might cry from the sheer overload of emotional buildup. Nothing about fighting with Aridin fixed anything. You hate him for abandoning Karkat, for not caring about him, for trying to lie to Karkat before and make him think they were Moirans. You hate how his life is a burden on Karkat, how he's stuck here now, and how at any moment he could turn all of you over to his maker. Worse still is how he claims to care for Karkat, despite all of those things. The worst part, more terrible than all of those things, is what he accuses you of being pale for Karkat. You can hear your own voice saying that you are pale for him. You don't need to re-listen to that video to be able to hear it playing in your head, though you must have rewatched it at least 50 times already. You should be agonizing about how Karkat said that he knew back there, that he knew what you were both going to say, that Aridin's accusations about your feelings was so obvious that he didn't need to hear it, didn't want to hear it. You should agonize about that. It's certainly there, and it's absolutely going to circle back when you have the space for it. It just doesn't make the top billing item. The spot goes to Karkat himself. How tired and upset he looked. How he was obviously afraid of this, and your behavior still hurt him. You hurt Karkat, and it wounds you to think about it. You hate that you feel this way. You don't understand how you can feel like this for Karkat, who is definitely a man, and these are definitely romantic feelings. There's only so much denial that you can drown yourself in. You have to accept that your feelings are pale, but now you're up to your eyeballs in an identity crisis that you don't want to have, and as Video Rose pointed out, it's one you don't have time for.
I.
You twist and look up at the silencing spell over your bedroom door. It's intact, and you hadn't heard Sullix or Aridin talking since you shut it. Quite frankly, you doubt Aridin's ability to shut it for any length of time, so the spell is definitely working. You hate Aridin so much for everything. You hate him for daring to presume that Karkat would feel pale for him when he is nowhere near worth that. You hate yourself for feeling pale at all for Karkat and for how you acted. You think you want to kill him. You want to blow up this building and kill him and everyone in it, including you. This is terrible and the worst thing ever. You watch those thoughts as you think them, both as the person thinking them and as an appalled observer. God damn it, you are Rose Lalonde and you are better than this. Or at the very least, you will act like it.
I
You say to the empty and silenced room.
am. Pale for Karkat.
You did not magically catch fire. You were not somehow struck dead where you stand by the secret order of lesbian witches that you made up just now, but also now kind of desperately want to form. The sky did not fall. You are fine. It hurts a lot less to say it out loud yourself than have Aridin scream it at your face, accusing you of just wanting Karkat for yourself instead of rightfully pointing out how terrible he is. Maybe Sullix had pointed out that you can want, you don't like that word, Karkat for yourself and be well aware of how terrible Aridin is. If he did, then neither of you heard him over this furious arguing. You need to think. You have to come up with a proper plan. Firstly, you need to decide what your feelings mean. You're no longer denying that they're there, so good for you, you guess. You'd like to set your expectations a little higher than things that your emotionally stunted brother managed to pick up before you. You need to be more aware of how pale relationships work. There's absolutely no way that you are going to do anything about this until you know more. You can have feelings and not act on them. That's perfectly fine. But if you are going to act on them, then you will not do it badly. The last thing the Karkat needs right now is your inept advances in any fashion. Secondly, you absolutely need to stop Aridin from getting together with Karkat. Are your motives very corrupt there? Maybe. Shut up about it, though. Aridin is clearly a bad person, and Karkat's state of being right now is fragile. Exposing him to Aridin at that kind of level is just wrong. Also, it's an objective fact that Aridin is terrible. You are very objective, the most objective. It is you. Thirdly, you need to figure out how to open the rest of this belt. You're already. I can read.
You're doing great. This
God
is a
damn it!
huge chunk.
I was doing so good. Oh, 1 second. I need beverage.
Hydrate or dihydrate?
Hydrate or die straight. All right. I think I'm still good to read for at least a little bit.
All right, you let me know if you start to tuck her out.
Will do. Thirdly, you need to. Wait, where was I?
It's thirdly.
Okay. Thirdly, you need to figure out how to open the rest of this belt. You've already figured out who a few of the pouches might be for. Karkat had that dream before about tarot cards, so you have an idea with some of them, but you've got nowhere. You also need to make a decision about whether you involve anyone in this. There's obviously some time magic involved with this, and your first thought is to take this to your mother, but she's very fragile, so perhaps not. Your other option is Celix, but you feel like you should do this alone. No, you feel like you should do this with Karkat. Like he would help you. In better timelines, he evidently would, but not now. Merely thinking about Karkat is painful. He's been through so much, hurt so badly, even by you. He doesn't deserve that at all. You owe him an apology, but on his own terms. When he comes out of his room next, you'll apologize for your behavior, but you're not going to invade his room to do that. Essentially, get your shit sorted and solve a time mystery. Sounds easy. You spend your time until dinner absolutely entrenched in sources about tarot, trying to learn everything you can and trying to put it all together as best as you can. You make approximately zero progress and eventually have to leave to go get dinner. Like the worst houseguest imaginable, Aridin is still here and has spread himself out on your sofa with his shoes still on as he watches TV. Your television is awful, Aridin informs you. Don't. Sullux warns you before you even think of saying anything. I've already tried to tell him that reality TV is meant to be bad and told him to change the channel, but he won't. It's horrible but compelling. They all belong in hell. I'm just waiting to see them fail. Aridin grumbles. You consider this for a moment.
Tentacle therapist began trolling Twin Armageddons. I'm hazarding a wild guess here, but did your side invent reality TV?
What do you think?
Twin Armageddons ceased trolling Tentacle therapist.
Felix's grin is sly and self-satisfied, so you're going to leave him to that. You're not going to drop that bit of information before Celix wants to. That would be mean. Instead, you look over at Karkat's bedroom door. It's still shut.
Is Karkat still in there, or did he leave?
You ask Celix. Why? Planning on confessing your feelings? I feel like that was not British. 1 second.
Sure.
I know how to British. Why? Planning on confessing your feelings? Aridin, how the fuck? I don't know how to British. I'm gonna try one more time, and if it doesn't work out, what?
We're just having fun here. I don't think people come for like the accuracy of our like linguistic drift.
Valid. Listen, if it just gets a little fucked up, it's fine. Why? Planning on confessing your feelings? Aridin asks mockingly. You do not invite him to. Ooh, no, you're not even going to imagine that you could tell him to do. Like, stick his dick in the blender. God damn it. Well, you don't say that, so you're counting it as a win. He's still in there. Celix answers you, as he is the actual person you had been asking.
Unless he's escaped through the window.
You say with quiet worry. Matuna would know. He put a ward on there to alert him. Karkat knows about it, and I don't think he'd take it off and worry Matuna like that. Celix says, and that is reassuring to know. Karkat is still Karkat, and you don't think he'd scare Matuna unless he had a good reason to do so. Karkat is still Karkat. No matter how different he is, the core of him is still the same. When he cares about people, he cares. You can't think of anything that would motivate him to escape like that, so you accept this. Sorry, you're telling me that there's nothing stopping him from leaving? Sheridan asks in alarm. I said it was an alarm. It informs Matuna. Celix starts. I know how an alarm ward works. Alarm ward.
What?
The alarm ward. I guess a wad of alarms. I know how an alarm ward walks. In the walk.
Ward works.
Alarm ward works. Oh, that's so hard.
It's a lot.
I know how an alarm ward what fucking hell. Oh my god.
I could put this in our tongue twisters.
Oh my god. I'm trying one more time, and if it doesn't work out, I'm saying that bit in American accent, and we're just gonna live with it.
All right.
I know how an alarm ward works. There's no way that Karkat is still in there. If he wanted to go, then he's gone. Escaping was basically all he did with his free time, and also a lot of time when he was supposed to be doing other things, Eridan exclaims. Yes, that's probably true, but you don't think that Karkat was escaping from anyone that he cared about in heaven. Here, he would worry people. You're sure of it.
Is there a similar ward on your windows? So if Karkat snuck out of his window and up to yours or Dave's, then Matuna would know about that?
You ask curiously. It might be the case that if Karkat goes through one and then the other within a set time period, the alarm doesn't go off. Which is good, because I don't need Matuna knowing everything. Felix says, a little bit evasively. Yeah, you bet the Matuna would rather not know about that too. Or at least not know. Actually, you don't want to think about this either.
Okay, well, I'm going to dinner. Do you want me to bring you anything, Solix?
You ask. Anything sweet or apple-based? Celix pleads, his voice bordering on a whine.
I can't promise that I can get you apple juice, not if Dave is there first, but I'll do my best.
You say, and leave without making any remarks about how you're not getting Eridan anything. Not even a spike on which to mount his severed head. You're being better. You are. In what has to be a minor miracle, you do get to the dining hall before Dave and swipe a bottle of apple soda before Dave can descend on the bottles like a plague of highly specific locusts. You also secure Celix a little custard and caramel pudding to go with it, and then get your own food sorted out. Jade is already at your table with her hellhound at her side, and as you sit down, you see Dave and June come in together.
Have you heard from your grandmothers lately?
You ask her warily, not wanting to broach the topic if she doesn't want to talk about it.
I still need to think about things. They sent me a message, though. Sort of, anyway.
Jade says with a frown.
Sort of?
You ask, how does someone sort of send a message?
They sent an enchanted ice bird to sing a message at me, but it startled June awake and she hit it with her hammer.
Jade explains. Sorry, I just need a second. I'm just imagining June smashing this tiny little ice bird with a hammer the size of herself.
Yes, just a
That's what's
comically
going
sized
on.
hammer.
Gotta get that Looney Tune shit.
Yes.
Okay, now I want to draw June in a Looney Tune shirt. I feel like it would be very on brand for her.
I think that's extremely true.
You turn and eye June from across the room and note that she looks a little bit, well, freezer burnt is the best descriptor you have.
That's less than ideal.
You say slowly.
It was a little bit funny, mostly for me, but like I said, I think I need a little time to take it all in, so the delay is kind of nice. It's appreciated, I guess. It's a lot to readjust your worldview like that. There's so many things that I thought I knew about myself that aren't what I thought at all.
Jade admits.
There's a lot of that going around lately.
You say softly.
Definitely. Finding out about Carcat, about June, about me, Carcat changing like that, him having to deal with it, it's nuts.
Jade agrees strongly. D's nuts. Dave intones and drops his tray on the table next to Jade.
I'm not laughing. It only encourages you.
Jade says, barely holding back.
Guess I'll starve.
June says dramatically and sits down next to you. Sorry, I should review that. Sorry.
You're good, we're having
June
fun.
says Listen, June is the drama. It's her.
Mm-hmm.
I love her so much. Listen, I really go back and forth on like trans femme Jegbert, trans mask Jegbert, just cis Jegbert in either direction. But either way, this like embodiment of June, this is everything a Jegbert should be.
Hell yeah.
We love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And also aggressive butch lesbian, which is just, we love it. Anyway.
Cherries on top, so many chef's kisses.
We love it, Your Honor. I feel like no matter which way I see Jegbert portrayed, I always am like, that is a homosexual.
Gay, homosexual, gay.
Gay, homosexual. I know a lot of people are like, bi, and I'm like, but hear me out though. Homo.
Homo.
June says dramatically and sits down next to you. Cool. Gimme. Dave says, trying to reach June's food, and then has to hastily dodge a fork to the hand. Dave doesn't God damn it. Do you mind swapping in his narrator?
Yeah. Dave doesn't say anything to you, but he's also not outright ignoring you. He isn't childishly refusing to speak to you. He simply isn't talking to you. He's still upset. You take a deep breath and remember your resolve from earlier. Hold on to that. Dave, you were right and I was wrong, you say. June's fork clatters to her plate and she stares at you, definitely overplaying that shock, but at least some of it is probably real. Dave is staring at you in surprise, and you certainly have Jade's attention too.
In general, about all things, or...
Dave asks after a second or two. About me, about the Carcat thing, about how I was acting, and why, you say stiffly.
Are you fighting with Aridin? June said you broke that up, right?
Jade directs that last part to Dave.
How do you know that I broke that up?
Dave asks, clearly surprised. Dude, you broke up a screaming dramatic argument by comedically squirting the participants with water. I'd know about that if I was on the same hemisphere as that, let alone the same building. June laughs, and Dave makes Dave makes a thoughtful
Ah.
of understanding. Still, Dave knows what you mean, and June and Jade don't. That's ideal for you. Except for how Dave knows that you were wrong, and you don't want him to know that because you don't want him to be wrong in the first place, but, well, that
You
ship has
accidentally said
sailed.
you don't want. You accidentally said you don't want him to be wrong.
Okay.
Hello?
I was trying to read what you were saying, and I think I know the spot.
Yeah, you said you don't want him to be wrong in the first place instead of you don't want to be wrong.
Gotcha. Except for how Dave that's Rose's voice. Except for how Dave knows that you were wrong, and you don't want him to know that because you don't want to be wrong in the first place, but, well, that ship has sailed. If you didn't want to have to admit that you were wrong, then you should have had the foresight to be right instead, shouldn't you? Dave smiles, slow and self-satisfied. The thing is that you're obviously not identical twins, because that's not how that works, but also, look at you two. Aside from the obviously different skin tones and the entirely different builds, you two are a lot alike. People tend not to see it because they can't get past the first two things. Dave may have the skin tone of an overcast day, but he has the same curl in his hair at the temple that you and your mom both have. It's harder to see on you because all of your hair curls at about that pattern, aside from a little variation at the nape of your neck and the occasional part in the rest of your hair, so it can be infuriating to style sometimes. Whereas Dave's hair curls tighter, except for that one part. His eyes are as unusually colored as yours, but he has the same eye shape, and his mouth might look different to yours, but damned if he's not pulling the same
I'm right and you're wrong.
smile that you do. Quite honestly, the expression is infuriating to look at, but that's mostly because you don't like being wrong. He is still your brother, and he does love you, so he drops it after a second or two. A very long second or two, by your estimation.
Proud of you. So what are you Hi, Carcat.
Dave verbally swerves at the last moment to see a very annoyed Carcat walking over to your table. Oh no, did he hear? What's wrong, Carcat? Jade asks as Carcat angrily sits down at the end of the table. He doesn't need to eat, so he doesn't need the space. He can pull up a chair anywhere. I'm so angry, he hisses. Beck looks at him and then turns to rest his head on Carcat's leg, making Carcat's expression soften as he pets him.
What happened? I've got a guess, but what went down?
Dave asks. Eridan, Carcat says in exasperation. Carcat scowls down at Beck for a few seconds as he scratches aggressively behind his ears, as if he can get his frustration out all into that white fur. All I wanted to do was to be by myself and figure things out for a bit. I was finally starting to get somewhere, and he bursts through my door, yelling about me escaping. Solix said he told him that I was still in there, but I can't be trusted, apparently, Carcat says, sounding more upset than angry now. Wait, why did he think you'd escaped if you were in your realm? Jade asks, clearly lost. Because I used to do that back where I was from, and that's who he knows, and that's... Carcat shakes his head, evidently not finishing that thought.
That's who he's expecting. That's who he sees.
Dave finishes for him quietly. It's like I told you, Carcat mutters, though you don't follow what he means. Carcat is so upset, and you feel just awful about it. Jade is trying to offer him some fruit that she has. Carcat accepts some, but doesn't eat it. June is trying to cheer him up, but it's not working. You're a huge part of the reason why he's so stressed out. You're supposed to care about him, and now look at him. Looking at Dave, you see him glance away from Carcat to you. The look he gives you is brief, but significant. It's good that you've accepted your feelings, but that doesn't change anything for Karkat right now, does it? Fix your mess. That's what you need to do here. Karkat, I'm really sorry, you say softly. For what? Karkat mumbles sullenly, still petting Beck. I'm sorry that Eridan did that and you'd lost your peaceful space. I'm sorry that I behaved so terribly around him that you needed that space in the first place. I acted selfishly. I don't like him, but he's important to you for a lot of reasons, and I've been acting appallingly about all of this. You apologize. Dave's sneaker nudges the outside of yours under the table. Above it, there's no change in his appearance, nothing to suggest that it was even him. Except you two used to do this at school. Your little trio were very outcast for many reasons, and sometimes people would be shitty about it. Silently making contact like this was your way of showing support without outwardly giving any sign of it. At school, it was to avoid showing that either of you needed support, but here, it's to avoid interrupting your interaction with Karkat. It's not your fault. I know our species is generally the worst. I know he wasn't exactly being nice to you either, Karkat says quietly.
I think it takes two people to have a several-hour-long screaming argument. It's definitely at least half her fault.
Dave points out. You're going to make yourself an only child. No, you're not. You did fuck this whole thing up and he's right. He can stop being right at any time, though. It's your thing. It is. I was wrong. I'm sorry. You've been going through so much, and I've been wildly counterproductive for so much of it. No matter how much I care, I haven't been behaving admirably. I'm sorry. You apologize sincerely. Karkat seems surprised by your words, which is even more damning that Dave's entirely correct. Karkat seems surprised by your words, which is even more damning than Dave's entirely correct reprimanding had been. He's surprised that you admitted that you were wrong, as if you care more about him being right than is... I don't know if is that a sentence? Can I read? As if you caring more about him.
As if you caring more about him than right.
Okay. He's surprised that you admitted that you were wrong, as if you care.
You got it, or
as if you caring more about him being than being.
Do you want me to read that?
Hang on, third time and I'm out. He's surprised that you admitted that you were wrong, as if you caring more about him than being right is unusual. It makes your heart hurt to think about it. Thank you. I wasn't looking for that. I get that he's unlikable sometimes, and it's not like I'm easy for anyone right now either, Karkat says softly. You're not a problem. You're not something that people should have to deal with or work around. Like I said, I'm sorry. I'm the one at fault here. I'll try to be better around him and you. Our dorm shouldn't be somewhere that you want to avoid. It's your home too. If I make a mistake, I will try to correct it. And I probably will again because he is incredibly awful, but even so, you're my friend. I'm apologizing. You tell him firmly, and a small smile blooms on Karkat's face. A knot of tension in your chest loosens, and you feel reassured that you did the right thing. At least right now, you did the right thing. Of course, what you have also done is had a very emotional apology at a table full of other people, which means that you have succeeded in making the whole atmosphere very awkward. But that's not terribly unusual for your group. Dave manages to pull it back eventually, and by pull it back, you mean he performs one of his short raps / nice poems about Karkat that goes into a weird
one of his things. You're okay, hon?
Sometimes all it takes is reading ahead 2 words and you can really break yourself. Okay,
It be like
I
that.
need to do this justice, though. Okay. Dave manages to pull it back eventually, and by pull it back, you mean he performs one of his short raps / nice poems about Karkat that goes into a weird tangent about dragon-like features and scales in a vaguely homoerotic way that is deeply puzzling to you. Essentially, Dave breaks the group's "that was weird" meter, and it all resets, putting you back to normal conversation. Dave works on those raps
I love
fast.
that so much. Let's. Oh, he do. Listen, if I knew how to write raps, I would 100% write this. Hey, I used to do poetry. Maybe I could figure it out.
I would love that.
It would be great. Like, hi, Unda, this is my gift to you. Have this homoerotic poem.
Homoerotic poem about dinosaurs and dragons and shit. Wonderful. Well,
About Karkat having so many teeth.
so many teeth.
Listen, I feel like Dave being somehow attractive to Karkat having sharp teeth, sorry, not short teeth, should be like a thing. Because I've seen that in several fics, and it makes me very happy. Like, yes, Dave just being like, teeth.
Teeth. The better to bite you with, my dear.
Hot.
Wonderful. Alrighty.
We love.
We have made yet more progress into this wonderful story.
Hell yeah.
I'm also I'm starting a new job in about a week, and so my schedule is gonna get wonky here eventually. I don't know when we're gonna reschedule it to, but just be aware. not like Wednesdays is our normal time either, but just be aware changes are coming.
True. Okay. Yay for new job.
Yay for new job! I'm transferring within the same company, so I get to like keep my sick leave and stuff, which is very nice.
Oh yay.
Yay! Huzzah! I am going to end stream. Stream, take care of yourself. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for joining us.